Okay.
It is not the president that select those who are members of that commission. It is a committee or a panel. The panel is made up from nominees from the government party, opposition parties, and all of that, including civil society. They agree, they advertise the role. That's what makes it an independent National Electoral Commission. The way it is now, it is not truly, because the appointees, the power to appoint persons into that commission. See,
let's end it. All right, I'm afraid we just have to leave it there. Omori Agbe, thank you very much for your time, and unfortunately we're out of time. All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us, don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Now, amid calls for reforms in Nigeria's judicial system, the National Judicial Council, NJC, recently made a significant move that may reshape the future of judicial appointments nationwide. For the first time in a long while, the NJC has invited members of the public to comment on the suitability or otherwise of candidates shortlisted for appointments into various judicial offices across the country. Now, the new openness in the recruitment process is expected to promote transparency, public trust, and judicial accountability in line with global best practices. Now, legal luminaries in the country have reacted to this move by the NJC. The senior advocate of Nigeria, Monday Ubani, says by allowing the public to contribute to the vetting of judges, the NJC has shown its willingness to deepen democratic participation and rebuild public confidence on the bench, especially as the nation's judiciary faces intense criticism. He also commended the NJC's readiness to embrace transparency and to allow the people who are the ultimate beneficiaries of justice to have a say in who sits in judgment over them. Well, joining me now to discuss more on this is Monday Ubani himself, senior advocate of Nigeria. He joins us from Benin. Mr. Ubani, thank you very much for coming on the program. So you've highlighted, some of the, should I say, the advantages or the pros of this new initiative by the NJC. But can you shed more light on it? Why you think this is actually the best move that the NJC has made?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Deji. The most important thing for me is the sensitiveness of the NJC to public reaction on the recruitment process of judges in Nigeria. You know that over time there has been these criticisms that the recruitment process of judges in Nigeria lacks transparency, and that there is undue preference for mediocrity in favor of meritocracy. You know that most judges are either children, nieces or cousins of very important personalities in the country. There has been this criticism over time. And the truth of the matter is also that there is a falling standard in terms of quality of delivery, in terms of quality judgment. If you compare it to what we used to have in the 80s and in the 70s, So the NJC is also worried concerning the recruitment process, and they have come up as since we are sensitive to input when people make suggestions. Now we will need input of members of the public, the stability of any of those nominees. Anytime we publish names of those we want to employ. We need impunity because you know these people, you live with them, and one way or the other, you must have had an experience with them, while in their, judicial function and all that. So you have a right now to make an impute, and they will take that into consideration. So I think that it's something that is worthy of commendation. I mean, in other countries, judges are even elected. There is a process of making sure that before you become a judge, member of the bench, you pass through rigorous process of getting you in. You must be a person of unquestionable character and unquestionable learning and the integrity. These are issues, we have.
But don't you think this is also going to?
So I'm very happy that NJC.
Don't you think this may create problems too for the NJC? Because when appointments are announced, and then you have to wait for members of the public to make their comments before probably confirming the appointments and all of that. I mean, you could have situations where even those who do not like you, not because you are not good, but probably just do not like you, they may put in petitions, and that this could, lead to, they may put in comments now, and that this could lead to delays and sometimes confusion, if you like, where you would have a number of people speaking for and against an individual and all of that.
What it means that there's going to be timeline for all this. And of course, they are not ignorant of the fact that there may be abuse in the process where people, just out of sheer jealousy, just want to defame a character, who want to say anything that is clearly unsubstantiated against a nominee. And that's why they say that, look, the process is that you must put whatever you want to say against a candidate in a verifying affidavit, meaning that you must swear an oath that this is the truth. Truth are the facts that you know to be true. So if they find out that there's no truth in whatever you are, of course you will be subject to perjury. You'll be tried for perjury because it's a very serious business. You don't come and begin to run down a personality or character of an individual just for the sake of it. We have had similar, even when you have been vetted for censorship. There have been petitions where people just write unnecessary because of the fact that you have disagreement with somebody. You just now feel that this is an opportunity to get to that person by writing unsubstantiated allegation. If you do that, of course they always throw it out. So I'm saying this one is going to be under verifying affidavit. So you swear an oath that what you're saying is the truth. And if you find out that you are lying, of course you'll be charged for perjury. And so it's not something that will create any unnecessary problem for the system. And as I said, the position is that it's good. There will be a timeline for that. They have timeline within which to dispose of any public complaint. If you have anything, say it under, then you'll be called upon to come with your documentary or oral evidence to substantiate. You can substantiate that within that timeline, the matter will be dismissed, and then you face the legal consequences of lying against the nominee. So that's what I think. So there won't be much problem. It's good to have that impute, because there are many personalities, they have actually deployed into the judiciary that are not, their characters and all that, is questionable.
Now, doesn't the NJC on its own also carry out some kind of vetting before these appointments are confirmed?
They are not God. They are human beings, they are limited, times or space and the other factors. So that's why they say, look, do you have any, maybe living in the same neighborhood with this individual that you want to make a choice? Is there any adverse comment you want to make concerning? Is there anything you know that we don't know? They will do theirs quite all right. But information from the members who may have done one thing or the other with these nominees will go a long way. So they are not God. They can't know everything concerning an individual. So we're throwing it open. But as I said earlier, the issue of abuse, and I share your sentiment, I also share your concern, Deji, that we must be very careful not to use the opportunity to defame characters and then run down a personality and create a doubt in the mind of members of the public, about a personality that has been nominated for such an onerous, responsibility. It's a very grievous responsibility that for you to be a judge and somebody has no reason whatsoever to run down that individual because you have maybe a business agreement, that did not work out, or you have had a quarrel with him or her and all that, then you now feel that this is the time for me to get at that individual. If you do that, without any serious evidence to back up whatever you are saying, you go down for it. You go down, and so that system must also take care of those who want to lie against a nominee.
So how does this actually build confidence in the judiciary?
Now, what it does, and as I said earlier, is in accordance with best global practice. We have it in other countries where even judges are elected.
Elected, yes.
There is an input of, yes, people are, you have an input as to who, it's a responsibility that, it's a society driven. You are coming to render public service. You are coming to adjudicate on matters of, between parties. This is issue of justice. So it's not something that is consigned primarily to lawyers and judges themselves. Members of the public must have an input as to the character. Apart from the issue of the law, the integrity of the person coming to man the bench is also of importance. So people who live around you, who know you may have done one or two things, people in your church and all that, your mosque, who know this person, can say, look, we don't trust this person, or we trust him. Some people can put in on, this is the right choice. That this person has the knowledge, he has integrity, he has character, So these are issues, and so I see it as building confidence. A lot of people are no longer interested in coming to the judiciary for resolution of dispute because of lack of confidence. People are losing confidence because of things that has been going on within the judicial sector. So this is part of the measures in order to ensure that we rebuild the confidence of Nigerians towards. After all, you had an input towards this man who has been made a judge. You made an input. His name was published. What did you know and what did you say concerning him? Did you say anything? So you don't have any reason now to complain if the person turns out to be a bad judge. So it's a mechanism for building confidence. It's a mechanism for having an input of variety of persons towards the character of it. So if you pass through that process and you become a judge, just like to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, your names are published and people are asked to make an input of the character of this individual. So if you pass through that process and become a senior advocate, you are a leader in every respect. You have not been found wanting in character and in learning, and in every aspect of national life, you are qualified, and that's why we are gazetted, and that's why there are few in the country. So a judge passing through that process will once again guarantee the confidence that we need to rebuild concerning our judiciary, which over time now people are beginning to say negative things about. So I think it's something that is worthy of comment. Let's try it. Let's try the process and see how it goes. Rather than probably stop arguing against it.
It's really good. I mean, it's a good idea, something new, and there's nothing wrong in trying it. Let's also hope that the public will also play their role and take up the responsibility, because sometimes you have these things in place, but people don't actually use them. People don't take advantage of them at all to make comments or what have you. Let's hope the public too will play their own role. Mr. Monday Ubani, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, thank you very much for your time and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, that's how much we can take on the program this week. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
J'ai le virus de planter des arbres. Ça me plaît beaucoup. Ici, c'était un dépotoir d'ordures ménagères. Du fait que les villageois ne savaient pas qu'est-ce que c'est que l'importance de la forêt, ils prenaient leurs ordures et les déposaient. En ce moment, je leur ai sensibilisé de leur dire que l'arbre doit vivre comme nous, donc il ne faut pas salir l'arbre. C'est ce qui nous a donné l'impact positif pour avoir ici un périmètre pour cultiver. Le 2 mai 2005, on a allé voir les eaux et forêts qui nous ont attribué 500 mètres carrés. On a initié, intégré les femmes dans un AGR. Et avec ça, on a choisi le maraîchage. On était à 3 hectares, mais on ne cultive pas sous la haute tension. Et on nous a déguerpi et on est à 2 hectares.
Si on fait travailler ces femmes dans cette forêt, c'est pour qu'elles prennent également soin de cette forêt. Non seulement ça permet de fertiliser les sols, mais ça permet également de les autonomiser économiquement à travers la vente de fruits.
Tous les arbres fruitiers que vous voyez, c'est nous qui l'avons planté. Chaque citronnier, on y récoltait plus de 60 kilos.
Merci beaucoup. Que ce sont des dames très dynamiques, des dames très braves, qui subissent de plein fouet les effets des changements climatiques. Nous, on vient en rescousse pour informer, pour sensibiliser sur des solutions, la promotion de bonnes pratiques. Pour les cas pires, c'est également l'apparition de nouveaux parasites. Et ça, on le vit ici au quotidien et un peu partout au Sénégal. Ça participe également à la dégradation des sols. Justement, c'est la raison pour laquelle nous, on essaye de trouver comme solution prioritaire aujourd'hui le reboisement massif dans les périmètres maraîchers avec des espèces qui sont répulseurs aussi.
Nos projets d'avenir, si les femmes l'acceptent, on veut faire un projet de pépinière dans les alvéoles pour alléger les travaux.
La femme est à l'image de la terre. Ce sont des vrais écoféministes qui sont là, qui sont engagés pour la protection et la préservation de l'environnement.
La forêt, c'est nous et nous, c'est la forêt. J'ai le virus de planter des arbres. Ça me plaît beaucoup. Ici, c'était un dépotoir d'ordures ménagères. Du fait que les villageois ne savaient pas qu'est-ce que c'est que l'importance de la forêt, ils prenaient leurs ordures et les déposaient. En ce moment, je leur ai sensibilisé de leur dire que l'arbre doit vivre comme nous, donc il ne faut pas salir l'arbre. C'est ce qui nous a donné l'impact positif pour avoir ici un périmètre pour cultiver. Le 2 mai 2005, on a allé voir les eaux et forêts qui nous ont attribué 500 mètres carrés. On a initié, intégré les femmes dans un AGR. Et avec ça, on a choisi le maraîchage. On était à 3 hectares, mais on ne cultive pas sous la haute tension. Et on nous a déguerpi et on est à 2 hectares.
Si on fait travailler ces femmes dans cette forêt, c'est pour qu'elles prennent également soin de cette forêt. Non seulement ça permet de fertiliser les sols, mais ça permet également de les autonomiser économiquement à travers la vente de fruits.
Tous les arbres fruitiers que vous voyez, c'est nous qui l'ont planté. Chaque citronnier, on y récoltait plus de 60 kilos.
Merci beaucoup. Que ce sont des dames très dynamiques, des dames très braves, qui subissent de plein fouet les effets des changements climatiques. Nous, on vient en rescousse pour informer, pour sensibiliser sur des solutions, la promotion de bonnes pratiques. Pour les cas pires, c'est également l'apparition de nouveaux parasites. Et ça, on le vit ici au quotidien et un peu partout au Sénégal. Ça participe également à la dégradation des sols. Justement, c'est la raison pour laquelle nous, on essaye de trouver comme solution prioritaire aujourd'hui le reboisement massif dans les périmètres maraîchers avec des espèces qui sont répulseurs aussi.
Nos projets d'avenir, si les femmes l'acceptent, on veut faire un projet de pépinière dans les alvéoles pour alléger les travaux.
La femme est à l'image de la terre. Ce sont des vrais écoféministes qui sont là, qui sont engagés pour la protection et la préservation de l'environnement.
La forêt, c'est nous et nous, c'est la forêt.
Many thanks for joining us on the news on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie. We begin the news with a heartbreaking tragedy that has plunged the community in Ibadan into mourning and sparked widespread outrage. A 14-year-old boy, Kende Alade, was killed by a stray bullet allegedly fired by a police officer during a joint traffic enforcement operation in the Alakia-Gbagi area of Ibadan, Oyo State. The incident happened around 7:45 a.m. on Tuesday near the airport roundabout in Egbeda local government area. And eyewitnesses say the victim was in a vehicle driven by his father, Odunayo Alade, who was reportedly attempting to evade arrest of driving against traffic when the police opened fire. The fatal shot struck Kende, a secondary school student, sparking immediate outrage. And in a dramatic show of grief and anger, residents marched to the Oyo State Secretariat, carrying the boy's lifeless body and demanding justice. The Oyo State government has condemned the killing in strong terms, and a statement from Governor Seyi Makide's Special Advisor on Media, Suleiman Olariwaju, described the incident as a sad, shocking and painful incident. Meanwhile, the Oyo State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of the officer responsible for the shooting. According to the command spokesperson, CSP Adewale Osifaso, the officer and other members of his team have been taken into custody pending further investigation. And with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second anniversary in office barely a week away, the Central Resort Delivery and Coordination Unit is racing to present him a fresh set of ministerial scorecards. The scorecard will focus on the performance of the various ministries for the first quarter of 2025 as Tinubu's administration enters its midterm on May the 29th. The CDCU, an agency under the presidency responsible for assessing ministers' performance quarterly, is currently verifying performance report of various government ministries and assigning them scores. According to report, each ministry uploaded evidence of project and policy milestones to secure CDCU's portal last month. Since then, a verification team led by the unit head, Adiza Bala Usman, has been poring over the submission and assigning scores against the performance bonds ministers signed at the October 2023 cabinet retreat. And to party matters, amid growing concerns over recent defections, the People's Democratic Party PDP Senate caucus has reaffirmed the party's unity and resilience, insisting it remains Nigeria's strongest opposition force. Addressing journalists after Tuesday's plenary, Senate Minority Leader Senator Abba Moro, alongside fellow PDP lawmakers, dismissed fears of a weakened party, assuring Nigerians that the PDP remains solid despite the exit of some members to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Senator Moro expressed confidence in ongoing reconciliation efforts led by former Senate President Bukola Saraki, noting that the committee tasked with resolving internal grievances is working to restore harmony. So far, 3 senators from Kebbi State and 1 from Delta North have defected to the APC, with other defections recorded across different political parties.
Contrary to the insinuations that the PDP is in shreds and at the verge of collapse, the party remains very, very strong and will continue to work stronger. The Senate caucus of the PDP, therefore, urges all our team members to remain resolute in their commitment, dedication, and loyalty to the party. The caucus believes that a series of activities lined up by the leadership of the party will throw up a new lease of life and leadership in the party that will make it very competitive in future elections. Of all the opposition parties, the PDP's umbrella is big enough to accommodate all persons desirous of coalition. The People's Democratic Party, therefore, should drive the coalition when and if it becomes necessary.
The Nigerian Senate is passed for second reading a bill seeking to amend the National Assembly Service Pension Board Act 2003. The proposed legislation, sponsored by Senate leader Senator Bamidele Okpeyemi, aims to reform the pension structure for the National Assembly members by reintroducing a contributory pension scheme to ensure sustainability and better welfare for staff. The bill received strong backing from Deputy Senate President Barao Jibrin and Chief Whip Tari Mungunu, who both emphasized its relevance and alignment with global best practices.
To revert to the contributory pension scheme by ensuring a transparent and accountable system, to reintroduce gratuity payments that fairly compensate retirees for their service, aligning with best practices in pension management, to restructure the composition of the governing board to eliminate potential conflicts of interest and enhance governance transparency.
It discourages corruption. Having a workable pension scheme. Once you know you have workable pension scheme, you are okay, it will help you by the time you leave. Why you go into corruption? You won't go into corruption. You will be you will be contented. That contentment will be there.
One of the best way in order to encourage civil servants to contribute their widow's mite and their best while in service is to guarantee their future, is to ensure that by the time they retire, they will not be exposed to the vagaries and vicissitudes of economic and social problems that is in.
As I speak now, even the pension
board has not been constituted, and I know that billions and billions are lying, and then a lot of the staff who retired, some of them are sick, some have died without collecting their pensions and gratuities. So it's something we need to look at very fast and take a decision that will be in the overall interest of the staff of the National Assembly.
And in other stories, the Nigerian government has announced plans to sell a 753-unit housing estate in Abuja, recovered from the embattled former Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, to interested Nigerians. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangewa, disclosed this in a statement, noting that the estate, comprising duplexes and apartments on the outskirts of the capital, Abuja, which is still at various stages of completion, will now be developed and made available to the public. The estate, located in local Goma district, was handed over by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. According to the ministry, the housing estate is described as the single largest asset recovered by the EFCC since its inception in 2003. Also, the Nigerian Correctional Service (NCOS) says operatives have commenced a manhunt for 7 inmates who escaped from the Medium Security Custodial Center in Ilesha, Osun State, early Tuesday morning. Abubakar Umar, NCOS spokesperson, said the inmates escaped at about 2 a.m. after heavy rainfall damaged the facility's perimeter wall. Umar said Sylvester Unwachuku, the Service Controller General, has ordered an immediate investigation into the incident. The spokesperson added that the NCOS is collaborating with other security agencies and community leaders to recapture the fleeing inmates. And a protest by members of the Trade Union Congress TUC over unpaid allowances has forced the federal government to commit to settling the outstanding entitlement within 48 hours. The protest, which took place at the Ministry of Finance, saw workers dressed in red blocking the main entrance, effectively halting operations and causing traffic disruptions. The demonstrators rejected dialogue with junior ministry officials, insisting on addressing their grievances directly to the Finance Minister, which is Wale Edun. Their persistence paid off as the government, through Permanent Secretary Aliyu Ahmed, pledged to clear all pending allowances and wage awards within 2 days.
We are not calling off this action, sir. We are only going to suspend for a while. We will provide further instruction on our platform when we will resume here tomorrow. I wish to also put on notice, Honorable Pamsec, that all affiliates of TUC have been put on red alert. Tomorrow, we will converge here. But I tell you, comrades, further directives will be, you will see it on your platform on the next line of action. We will be reasonable. We are reasonable people. That is why we are not mobilizing in our thousands to come here today, because we know beyond the withheld monies accruing to NNRA, you also have a responsibility to dispense with. That we are not unmindful of, and will allow you this privilege on your honor. But remember, when we are going to come back, we might not give you notice, sir. We want to believe you will do the needful. We thank you very much for coming, and we assure you that we will go back and re-strategize on the next line of action.
In the next 48 hours, you will receive your payment. So on this note, I want to thank you people for agreeing to allow us to enter the office so that we do our work for you to have what you are looking for. Your voice has been heard, and we will not disappoint you.
And in Lagos State, the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has sworn in new members of the Lagos State Civil Service Commission at the State House in Ikeja, Lagos. According to a statement by the governor's special advisor on media and publicity, Boyega Koshile, each appointee was selected from one of the 5 traditional divisions of Lagos. During the inauguration, Sanwo-Olu stated that the ceremony reflected the state government's commitment to maintaining integrity, fairness, and efficiency. He said these principles are vital to the effectiveness of Lagos civil service and the broader development of the state.
I therefore want to urge you to remember the solemn duty entrusted in you, the oath and the commitments you've taken here today. Your appointment reflects the confidence that we as an administration and people of Lagos have in your ability to lead the civil service towards greater excellence. We trust that you will honor this trust with dedication and with wisdom. As leaders in the Civil Service Commission, you bear the responsibility of ensuring that our civil service operates with discipline and meritocracy. Your decisions will affect the quality of our public service, where millions of Lagosians depend on from their day-to-day, from education to healthcare to security to infrastructure, because it is the people that you validate and you push into the service that eventually gets to serve the good people of Lagos. And so that your validation, that your fairness, that your sense of purpose and your professional judgment must always come to bear at all times. It's not something that you do one time and you forget the second time. It's something that must reflect on your appointment at all times. Because it's from this stock that the service that we're meant to be given the citizens of the state do emanate from.
Still in Lagos, the state government has reaffirmed commitment to infrastructure development with the delivery of 61 roads and 5 bridges within 1 year, while increasing the pace of work on 147 other roads and bridge projects currently ongoing in different parts of the state as part of the effort to enhance connectivity and ease of movement. Special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Infrastructure, Olufemi Daramola, made this known during the ministerial press briefing to commemorate the second year of the second term of the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. He assured that every effort is being made to deliver sustainable and impactful infrastructure to the people of Lagos State, noting that no project will be left abandoned.
A key quality of this administration is our policy of inclusiveness, not leaving any part of the state behind. In the area of agric and agro-under service, we have contributed in no small measure with the ongoing construction of the Immortal Light Industrial Park project. The Immortal Light Industrial Park project is located at Immortal SCDA, close to the Ikorodu local government area. The project consists of 20 numbered factory buildings of various types, 1 unit type, 2 unit type, and 4 unit type, a restaurant, an administrative building, a clinic, and a gatehouse to serve the main factory buildings. This facility will support the earlier completed at 2 metric tons per hour rice mill. And also the central food logistic system is also ongoing and it's going to be completed very soon also. The themes and theme slots agenda has served as a blueprint and a call to transformative action. Under the pillar T, traffic management and transportation, the Office of Infrastructure has been taken bold and strategic steps to improve road connectivity, expand access, and elevate infrastructure delivery standards. From year 2019 to year 2023, during the first term of this administration, the state government successfully completed 171 roads, translating to 177.4 kilometers across the state. This is indeed a clear demonstration of sustained focus and delivery standards.
Envy of all in our constituency, and I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Lime's World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online.
Corruption not in my country.
Cut. All right. What's your name again? Kemi?
Yes, sir.
Good. Are you ready for us for next week?
Yes, sir.
Next.
Ndewo, sir. Ndewo.
Look, what we need here is one who can speak fluent English. Give her a chance.
I need a angel to hold me. Hold me, my beautiful angel.
Cut! It is Angel, not Angel. Please, I'm done with you. Excuse us. Kemi was far better.
It's not about our rendition. It's not about our performance here. By the time she and her friends join us in our hotel rooms, you will know how far.
Can I have her phone?
She has a robust profile.
Real robust profile. I do not undercut professional ethics. It is an act of corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption.
And on business, the Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development has empowered over 85,000 young people across the state in the last 1 year through leadership, entrepreneurship, digital and vocational training initiatives, according to the Commission. And the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CRBN, has reassured the public of the stability and safety of the country's banking sector, describing recent media reports questioning the financial health of a Nigerian bank as misleading and unfounded. In a statement issued by its president and chairman of the Council, Pius Olarinwaju, the institute emphasized that such publications are intended to disrupt ongoing reforms and undermine the steady progress made in strengthening the financial system. Aligning with the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CIBN urged the public to disregard false narratives and rely solely on information from verified sources. The institute reiterated that Nigeria's banking sector remains stable, sound, resilient and safe, encouraging customers to continue conducting their financial transactions without fear or hesitation. And oil prices rose more than 1% on Wednesday after reports that Israel could be preparing to strike Iran to $62.92. Now, U.S. intelligence suggests that Israel is preparing to strike Iranian nuclear facilities, and recent oil storage data, however, suggests conditions have started weakening as inventories are building up around the world. And on the global scene, at least 3 children were among 5 people killed when a suicide bomber targeted an army school bus in Pakistan's restive Balochistan province, the military said on Wednesday, in an attack Pakistan blamed on Indian proxies. Around 40 students were on the bus that was headed to an army-run school, and several have sustained injuries. Pakistan's military and Prime Minister swiftly released statements condemning the violence and accusing Indian terror proxies of involvement in the attack, but did not share evidence linking the attack to New Delhi. And the United States have selected a design for its highly ambitious Golden Dome missile defense system, with President Donald Trump declaring that the project will be operational before the end of his current term in office. The project, bearing similarities to Israel's Iron Dome but significantly larger in scale, is expected to feature a sophisticated web of land, sea, and space-based interceptors and sensors, and is aimed at knocking out threats at various stages even before the launch. According to Trump, the system's success rate is projected to be very close to 100%. The president also revealed that Canada has expressed interest in joining the initiative, citing that the project's strategic relevance to North America defense and Arctic security is essential. And finally, on sports, Team Bayelsa is currently leading the medals charge at the 2024 National Sport Festival taking place in Ogun State. At the multi-sport event continues to gather momentum in Abeokuta, the capital city, and other centers across the state. The Riverine State has amassed a total of 9 medals so far, consisting of 6 gold, 2 silver and 1 bronze medal. They are closely followed by Oyo State with 1 gold, 1 silver and 1 bronze medal, while Lagos State is next on the table with 3 gold, 4 silvers and 3 bronze medals. And the Super Falcons head coach Justice Badugu has named a 23 women's squad for the upcoming international friendlies against the indomitable Lioness of Cameroon, with captain Rashidat Ajibade leading the side in the absence of star forward Asisat Oshoala. Oshoala, one of Nigeria's most decorated players, is a notable omission from the list as Madugu turns his attention to testing the depth of the team ahead of the Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco. The squad announcement reflects a strong faith in Nigeria's Women's Football League, with 9 home-based players earning call-ups. And those are the stories we have on our news now at the moment. Thank you for watching. I'm Tamilore Akinkwoli. See you again next time.
It's about the files your secretary presented to me regarding the company salary. Yes, the figures don't seem to add up. I suspect there's some form of a
Discrepancy.
Precisely, sir.
Keep the figures that way.
That's fraudulent, sir.
That's my money.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't do that, sir.
See how padded your teeth are. Are you telling me you cannot pad up figures?
Sir, padding is against best auditing practices, and it's a form of corruption.
It's true. Accountant.
You were testing. Thank you, sir.
Bagole.
Yes, sir.
You are fired.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine, sir. Rather than watch corruption grow under my watch. Padding is a form of corruption and not in my country, sir.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Right in the middle of this forest in southwest Ogun State and inside the buildings below, a young generation of farmers in Nigeria is changing the face of farming and attracting young people to a venture many of them had not always liked. And 36-year-old Peter Okoche Jr., or PJ as he's fondly called, is leading the change. An economist by training before branching off into farming, PJ and his team are deploying a unique method of farming known as aeroponics to grow cash crops, starting out here in August of 2017.
What's taking place is that you're seeing agricultural technology. It's a disruptive form of technology. It's called aeroponics, whereby the plants are grown in a soilless medium. Essentially, there's no soil, and the roots of the plants, which are underneath these boxes, are being misted with nutrients and so forth. So everything is within a controlled environment, and it's fully automated as well.
Their focal crop is yam, a very popular edible starchy tuber mainly cultivated in Africa and exported across the world.
So the yam subsector of the overall agricultural sector, it's a very lucrative sector. But the problem is that the requisite inputs haven't been applied. And so what we're doing in this program is saying that, okay, we know that there's a sector that currently has a value, according to the Food and Agricultural Organization based in Rome, of about $13 billion US. But with the requisite inputs, the yam subsector will grow from $13 billion to about $19 billion. And this is Nigeria alone. So what we've said is that, okay, we know also that Nigeria accounts for 60% of the global production of yam, but yet we don't have inputs such as seed. And as you know, seeds, or the lab and the seed essentially is the genesis of the agricultural sector. So what we're doing is that in conjunction with IITA, we get clean seeds, essentially from IITA, from the lab, and then we come and we transplant to the system here.
The system is a greenhouse where the yam seeds are grown in this row of boxes using aeroponics, more like growing yams in the air. Now just take a look at these leaves. Every leaf you see here is a potential tuber of yam. So to get a sense of how many tubers of yam we have here, you just have to do a count of all the leaves we have here. It's something very massive.
We have about 10 boxes, and in those boxes, all fully automated aeroponic systems. And it leads to high propagation of plants. And so we're actually massively propagating, and it will continue like this for a 3-year period of just continuous growth, non-stop. After the propagation, what you'll see is that it will essentially form a canopy. It will be very bush-like and so forth. And from there, we'll start vine cutting. And from the vine cutting, we'll cut these, we'll put them into essentially polyethylene bags and with a nutrient solution, and they'll stay in there for about a month. And essentially what it is that because this is in a controlled environment, we're taking them out and saying, okay, we're preparing you for a month to get used to the external elements, and they'll be there for a month, and then we eventually take them to the field.
This is the field where they are brought and planted into the soil so the seeds could develop fully.
These right now currently have been here for about 3 weeks. And we're still planting now, and they'll be here for a total of about 3 months. And after about 3 months, we'll get seeds of about 250 to about 500 grams. And those are the seeds that we'll provide to farmers. And farmers can then go and plant directly, and it will give them the ware yam sizes of 1 kg, 2 kg and above.
One of the smallholder farmers who's been using the yam seeds from the aeroponics farm is Awofe Ademola. He's been into traditional yam farming all his adult life, and says the yam seeds from the aeroponics farm have seen his output more than double and saved from pests.
There's a lot of difference between the two methods because the new method doesn't get infected by pests, and it doesn't change color like the traditional planted yams. It will remain fresh as it is wherever it is kept. Their yam when harvested is almost 3 times or 4 times more than ours. When we plant one of our own seed yam, it equates to 4 of theirs.
Habibat Umar is the only female in the group. She's one of those overseeing the day-to-day running of the smart farm. She says she's fascinated by the whole idea of it.
One of the things that fascinates me most is the fact that we can go all year round producing food, more like you can cheat God's creation and having to depend on the rain and all. And everybody wants to eat all the time. You don't want to wait for when the rain is here. And so the fact that we can provide the food all year round, it's everything to me.
Even though all may seem fine, PJ and his team are battling familiar challenges to keep their operations running.
More attention needs to be given to the sector. There needs to be more financing put in place. We need to have adequate land laws in place and to ensure that we can optimize all the arable land that we have and so forth. There needs to be insurance. We need to have better road networks. Power is a major impediment as well. Essentially we have our own solar system, as well as the fact that we also have a generator as well for backup. So power cost is also a major impediment as well. So all of these things, if we can put all these things in place, then the sector will boom for sure.
PJ and his team are setting themselves up as role models for young people. In a country where youth unemployment is high, they are hoping to inspire many within their age bracket to take to their kind of farming technique.
We need women to even join this chain, because this is not all about, we've gone past the stage of waiting for men doing it. So why wouldn't I want to be part of it? Like, let people say, oh, she's a woman, she's doing it. Do you understand? So women have to join this chain.
My message for the youth is saying that, listen, with the use of technology and disruptive methods such as this, essentially you can run your farm on your laptop, on your computer and so forth and everything. It's all automated. So essentially this makes agriculture cool. It makes agriculture sexy. You have the technological components to it and so forth and everything. So it's not just the conventional, back-breaking work in the field and so forth and everything like that. There are also these components as well that will make it appealing to the youth. So I say, listen, join me. We have a nation to feed and we have a nation to grow as well.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome once again to your favorite program, our favorite program, The Conversation, coming to you from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Nelson Ekujumi, and I have here with me in the studio Comrade Razak Oladiolokoba, popularly called Komolokoba.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program today.
Good day, brother.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, The Conversation is a topical issues program in which we look at happenings in Nigeria and in the diaspora. On The Conversation, there is no host. We are both having a conversation. On top of the bill today, we want to look at the latest happening in Nigeria, which is the recently released University Tertiary Matriculation Exam, Joint Admission Matriculation Board exam for admission into the universities. According to the results released by the Examination Board exam, over 78.5% of our students scored below 200 marks. The examination is 400 marks because you are expected to write 4 subjects of 100 marks each. And from the result release, over 78.5%, and it has become the talking point in town. A lot of people, to the extent that people have gone to the social media to claim that JAMB need to have a review of the marking scheme, and forgetting the fact that some people have also come up to say that during the examination, that a lot of the students, that some of the students in some examination centers where they witnessed that they didn't know how to make use of the computer, and these are students. If you do a thorough survey, some of them are with the latest launched GSM phones. So you wonder where the priority is for a student. And people have started putting the blame on our educational system. Well, if you ask me, I would say, one, JAMB has, since the assumption into office of Professor Ishaq Oloyede, JAMB has been able to put its house in order. A lot of the exam fraud centers that they call magic centers are no longer in existence. In fact, in my own area, I know of one. When the JAMB examination registration fee was about 5,000, I don't know what it's less than 10,000 naira officially now. People were paying as much as 45,000, 100,000 to get magic score.
Claiming that it's coaching.
Yes, JAMB coaching center. But now, all those things have gradually faded away. So it's either you sit down to read and pass, or you sit down to do other things and fail. And if you look at the JAMB results in almost 10 years now, it has been a steady decline.
Yes, you see, we have always known that the racket in the educational sector will come to an end one day. That is, if we are serious. And thank God we have someone like Isaac Oloyede there. Except if you want to be dubious with our assessment, the man is doing very well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the latest incident now was because JAMB took measures to avert
examination
malpractices.
Yes.
So of course the new style of computer-based
test, CBT.
We have done CBT. I do CBT in my last semester.
In fact, almost all examination in life, CBT has become the way of life.
So in 10-15 minutes, you become acclimatized with what they ask you to do. It's just use your mouse to click the answer. Yeah. There's no big deal.
There's no big deal. In fact, some of them don't know how to use the mouse.
Yes. It's a lie.
You don't be. I saw
under 15 minutes.
I saw somebody who told me that he was in a I said I saw somebody. I know the person.
And what I'm saying is that under 15 minutes.
Yes.
He will be able to do no one point cursor at whatever you want to pick. Well, under 15 minutes. So that might contribute to it. But the major reason why we had this terrible outcome for performance from our children is not because of that. You have mentioned it. The racket going on. So it's been foiled. That racket has been foiled.
Yeah.
See, we have to call it.
But even with the parents, don't we have blame?
Okay. You want us to start talking about?
Of course. Where should we
do preamble and come back to the?
No, let us see the. Where do we? I was doing it about pointing finger, forgetting that is pointing back at
the parents. When you were writing my way in Babayaba, we call Babayaba that time, it was like a god, a thing god to us. If you want to go and write why, you will read and you still fail again.
Yes.
Then suddenly, our own generation, my own generation, we are the biggest culprits in this matter.
No, because let me even tell you.
They say they don't want children to pass through the rigor we pass through. Whereas rigor is part of development.
It's part of development. It's what made us what we are today.
In primary 5, you will say you should not do primary 6. They will take them to university.
Yes.
And that university, they won't be able to cope. It has affected even my own children. He got double promotion 3 times in primary school. So he couldn't cope in secondary school. He was being bullied. Is it affecting him today? I'm just trying to make him cope. Back. But you know our mothers, which is, when we say parents, is the mothers that we should blame most. Because they are the one they will go and look at other people's children. And say the speed at which that boy is going, my own boy must be going in that speed.
Let me even give you my own personal history. My daughter, I met her with the mother discussing, and I said, "What are you guys saying?" They kept quiet. When immediately I came in, they both kept quiet.
And they know fathers will not.
So when the mother now went out, and I asked my daughter, I said, "Please, what is it you people are discussing?" My daughter said, "Some of our mates, our colleagues, our classmates, they already have their GC 5 credits." I said, "How did they do it?" He said somebody wrote it for them at a special center. He said, but my mother said you will never agree.
Yes.
I said, but I will not agree. So my daughter now told me that, what about if I write it and I fail? I said, then you write again. If you fail, he said, then you'll be wasting your money. I said, this is my money.
The point is even that we should be prepared for the consequence in future, rushing them.
Yes.
Because in countries,
and teaching them how to navigate, how to circumvent
because
the law.
if you rush them to an extent, in the next 20 years now, we are going to face a lot of challenge in production line because people graduate 17, 18. Primary school is less than 10 is the out of university. At 40, they will be retiring because 30 years is the mandatory retirement period. So,
retirement period.
Who is going to fill in the production line for them when we have the population of a young man that has retired at the age of 40, 50, out of circulation? Countries slow down education deliberately so that they will meet up, so that they won't go and rest early in their life and be watching to do what they get. When they should be active. Yes. So, this is one of the exposure to the concern me and you have been raising all the time. And I think JAMB should continue. Parents should have a rethink that you are not helping your children if you write JAMB, if you do GC, if you do all sorts of things for them. You are not helping them.
Comrade, look about for the benefit of our viewers. Let me go back in history. That in 2016, 64% scored below 64.24% scored below 200 marks. In 2017, 73%. You can see how we are dropping. In 2018, 74.1. Look at it from 2016. 2016 it was 64. 2017 it was 73. 2018 74.1. 2019 77%. 2022 77.8%. That's 76.7%, sorry. 2024 again 76.1%. God below. Now 2025 78. So if any parent or any rational dispassionate mind, when you look at our trajectory in the last 10 years, it's just like the Yoruba saying that Ogede Mbaje Elon Pon. The rots started not today.
Yes.
We laid the landmine for this rot.
Yes.
Where, like you have rightly said, a boy or a girl will be in primary school, allow her to finish or him to go through the full rigors of primary 1 to 6. There's a reason why it's in the curriculum.
Yes, there's a reason.
You circumvent it, say you want the son of my neighbor. He has gained admission.
But you can't cope with the exam. Someone will write it for him.
Somebody will write it for him.
And you are creating a problem for them in future because a friend will tell a friend when they now want to contest election, they will now bring it out that your exam was written by somebody for you. And there will be evidence.
Of course.
By the time we have half of our population suffering from this kind of challenge. How do you know? That's why I kept saying that the young people at their own time will lead. But with this attitude, they may not lead well. They will lead. So now, parents now should know very, very well that they must tighten their belt. We have to tighten our belt if you want our children to meet up with other children in the rest of the world.
We have even misplaced our priority.
Yes.
As a parent, when we were growing up, none of us had the luxury
of using phone.
Anything you want to investigate, you go and take you go to the library. But now they even have the phones on their feet in their.
So that library is on your palm.
It's on your palm. But no, they will be throughout the day. They will be on TikTok.
Yes.
And other things. So when you are not monitoring or mentoring your children in the academic field,
and you want him to excel,
you want him to excel,
that's a contradiction.
And again, we parents, we are fond of one thing: we abdicate all our responsibilities to our children, to the school
and government.
The other day, when my children they went on a midterm break, we went to the school. It's just for 3-4 days to take our children home. Then one of the parents, about 2 parents, now said, Mrs. Ajayi, please, I don't want this child to go with me. His wala is too much. Let him stay with me.
Imagine.
A child you gave birth to.
Yes.
So it is that teacher that should die.
Yes.
Helping you to take care of your own
children. I say she doesn't have her own affairs.
Our own children to take care of.
So parenting is a very, very big challenge. And it starts from, I say that from my own generation. The mothers today who are in their 30s, 20s, They came from us.
Yes.
Who are in our almost 60s now. So because we didn't give them that education about marital issue, parenting, and they also gave birth to the children. And you now imagine what kind of mother they will be. If you don't train them well, they can't become good mothers. So it's not beyond redemption, though.
It's not absolutely.
We have to quickly reverse our step.
Yes, we have to look ourselves in the mirror.
Yeah, and that is where government come in. JAMB has done its own now.
JAMB has done very well.
Anybody that has failed, JAMB should not reverse that trend. That
no, if they are calling for it, JAMB will review and the facts will come out.
Yes,
JAMB will
no,
not.
I mean, JAMB should not review that less than 200 can invest. No, that should be the consequence.
No, of course, yes. If we have to have lower intake,
let
parents go and sit down.
And to
school people that are allowing their children to write in special centers,
measures should be
there's no way for them again.
There should be penalty and consequence for people who write exam for people. That's one. Two, there will also be consequence for people who don't finish primary 6. Because that's where it begins. The people who have done it might have escaped. But henceforth, you should not be allowed again.
But you know, at times there are exceptional students. It's allowed in any society.
My brother, that's any society.
Yes.
You see, a butterfly wants to give birth to it, must go through some rigor. There's no how you cut the larva out if it didn't pass that to God. If it come out that, if you help it to abide that rigor, there will be problem. It's not only knowing how to write and pass the exam, the maturity, staying with his colleague and age, it's part of education.
Of course, I agree.
By the time I allow him to jump, look at Michael Jackson. The greatest problem Michael Jackson have is because it means his childhood. Yeah, he started from mixing with small children at the later stage in life. So if you
take him away from
that childhood, he will missing it.
He will miss it
so
for life.
Immediately you take him to miss primary 6, the picture, the end of the
phone.
Yeah, the phone. Don't allow him to miss it. It's part of education. So when people put their argument, say, hey, don't put the boss life in danger. See, if you rush him and become a graduate at 17, where are they rushing to? All the rest of the world slow down the education. It's deliberate so that they will not become retarded later early in life. Well, if they be working at the age of 17, it's natural for them to rest after 35 years of their life. Once they rest at 47 or 50 years of age, they are supposed to be in production because there will be deficiency. Certain population of the country must be in production line. You not retire them. There will be deficiency of production.
Thank you very much, Komele. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it from both of us that the JAMB result outcome for 2025 is a reflection of years of rot in which we have all contributed. So people should stop scapegoating anybody. Go and check yourself as a parent. Are you doing what you are supposed to do? As a teacher, are you doing what you are supposed to do in school? And for JAMB, we must commend Professor Ishakolede-led management board of JAMB for raising the tempo of our examination. Our examination now is world-class standard. There may be some little hiccups here and there, but the era of special centers, magic centers, is gradually becoming a nullity. It's no longer existing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. Please continue to watch the conversation coming to you from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You are still watching the conversation committee from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name remains Nelson Ekudimana. Here with me in the studio, Comrade Azar Kolade Olokoba. Comrade Olokoba, thank you for staying with us on the program today. Much. Yes, the next topic we are looking at today, we are looking at the issue in Rivers State. Recently, the governor of Rivers State was captured in a public event where he told his supporters to shift their confrontational style, that they are making matters worse for him. We are looking at how do we restore democracy to a democratic rule to Rivers State that is in suspension for 6 months by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in line with his constitutional powers in order to avert an economic disaster that was staring us all in the face because of the political crisis engineered, aided, and abetted by the suspended governor, Similaye Fubara, who aborted the legislature in the state and ruled like a dictator That was what the Supreme Court, that was how the Supreme Court described him, that there was no government in Rivers as at then, because it was just one man ruling at his whims and caprices, which was in total violation of our constitution. We also saw the Minister for FCT, His Excellency Nyesom Wike, also did a media interview where he said, he affirmed, like we have heard, that Fubara is reaching out. And but if you look at the facts on the ground, I watched Fubara at the program for late Pa Edwin Clark.
Yeah.
I also watched the interview for the Minister for FCT, Nyesom Wike. And for me, I want to believe strongly that the person that needs to make peace most, who is the one at the receiving end, is the suspended governor.
Of course, you are right. Because as it is now, is the one that has been thoroughly decimated by his own making.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, he did it. Nobody pushed him. He undid himself.
The moment he did that to the parliament, an arm of government, I knew that this man may not likely end well as the governor of Rivers State. So, and he didn't reflect on what he did. We thought he did it momentarily, that, what did I do? Begin to reverse his step. He didn't. He became so
more brutal,
yeah,
more
but he was becoming more confident that he began to do more and more things. After that, he didn't take budget to the
yes, there was no parliament.
Then he cut ties completely with his benefactor.
Yes, his benefactor.
Which is everywhere in the world. Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, the Clintons, the Bush in America. They play a role in who becomes, and they mentor them.
Mentorship is part of life.
When Papa Enauro wanted to move the motion for independence, Awolowo was sitting behind him. So you call that the Godfather too?
Yes.
Which is Godfather?
Of course.
So I don't know where we get it from, where that you say that people should not be mentored. People should just imagine. In the life of people, you want to put 10 million people in the life of an individual.
And
you say you should not be mentored.
You should not be mentored.
Till tomorrow, Tinubu still calls some people for consultation.
Absolutely.
And that is why he didn't leave Lagos alone.
Yes, now.
He will guide Fashola.
Even former President Muhammadu Buhari, as a president, now, just like you have said, he was still taking consultation. He was still going to some people that what do I do here?
Yes. Even if Tinubu goes to meet Buhari, Buhari will still consult.
Yes, because you know we have.
What do we do?
Yeah, you know we are Africans, and we have this saying that yes. You cannot have the wisdom of the elders. There are some people who came before you.
The young people might be vibrant.
They have seen life more than you.
So, in the case of Fubara, he thought he can go it alone. I know in every crisis there are beneficiaries.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Just like in the oil, the oil
but
sector.
when the chips are down, you bear your cross alone.
He's bearing his cross alone now.
Yes.
He's in the history of this country, if he didn't come back, he would be the most disgraced governor out of office. Because he had all things to succeed. Your state is prospering.
Yes.
Nothing. Just have your mentor discuss with him and see if he makes.
Ogasio, this is what we are planning to do.
That's okay.
He's not going to direct you how to go because you are an adult.
I heard later that it was the same person that Wike was trying to protect from being decimated by people who doesn't want him to come to governor. So is it the same person Wike was protecting that time before he became the governor? So it's the same person that behaved like that. That's not fair. It's not. You don't treat your mentor like that. We're not talking and say we are not saying that the pocket or rivers should be handed over. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely not.
For someone who navigated the rivers for 8 years, you said I should not have an input in
what becomes after.
No.
Nobody can allow it. We must be honest.
Like you have said,
sincere when we are talking about
very, very correct. When you said that the situation on ground now, it is Fubara that is injured thoroughly. Politically, is the one the most injured. So, if he wants the situation to go away, he must be willing to be completely humble.
Yes, he must go the whole hog.
There's here an air of arrogance in him. One, you are not willing to talk to Wike until you are impressed to. You don't want to talk to members of the family and say the way he even discouraged his followers. He said that you have to persuade them Because there's something they see in you. That's why they follow you, even with his money.
Yes.
Even if it's because there's a benefit.
Yes.
Even if because there's a Good Friday every Friday for them.
Yes.
There's a reason.
There's a reason.
So you have to placate your followers. And it is the same spirit that he also insulted the Wike. You don't discard people like that. So, and that's why I blame Wike. He didn't give him that tutelage very well. Because for him to behave like this, don't you lecture him about the complexity of governance? Don't you tell him that the road might be, so that he will be prepared?
But
and you know, there's something you will always disagree with me.
But wait, Comrade Lokoba.
Like in Kwara now.
Before you go
the governor of my state is a businessman throughout his life. But he's not behaving like as a governor. He's running affair in Kwara as if he's running his own oil company. And that's why INEC should give all these people political education. All the benefits he inherited when he became the governor in Kwara. They fought him, Lai fought him, Bemsola fought him. Even Salu Mustafa, Lukman Mustafa, everybody have become his enemy. So that's why, see, INEC needs to educate these people.
INEC doesn't have that powers under the. That's what I'm saying.
That power must be there. That that's what I'm advocating.
Yes, that's INEC does not have it now.
There must be that legislation to give INEC that power to educate them. But if you want to become the president, if you lose this election, that's not the end of your life. You must be willing to become a progressive opposition. Even if you now win, don't decimate your opposition. That should be that. Given that's what you keep reminding them. Whether it's our duty or I don't know. Maybe it's our duty.
I believe
or maybe it's duty of Nigeria. I don't know.
I believe there are institutions of states that when you get into public office,
protocol.
You are made to undergo some. Tutorials.
It's protocol,
yes.
Not political
so
pressure.
If you see,
it's majorly protocol.
Yeah, but even as at that, the character, the attitude a lot of us exhibit is what we come from our homes. So if we are talking about a Fubara today that is at the receiving end, you expect that those actions he took, those unconstitutional and illegal actions he took, he should have learnt
those period.
Yes, even when it was, because from the records, it was once the Accountant General of Rivers State.
Okay.
So for you to hold that key position in a state, it means you have passed through
certain tutelage.
Yes. So you don't expect him to have behaved the way he behaved.
Maybe you should be more conscious than that. You should be more deliberate in that, more deliberate about it. See, in the last 5 years, the most bashed governor of any state is Sanwo-Olu, but he maintained his calm. He's responsible for everything that is not his business.
Of course.
COVID-19, not his business.
Yes.
NSAS, not his. He maintained his calm. He didn't misbehave. There was the late governor of Oyo State. When he was talking to you, he said, we are the constitutional authority. May his soul rest in peace. But he didn't see Sanwo-Olu behaving like that.
So, Ajimobi. Late Ajimobi. Abiola Ajimobi, yes.
So Fubara needs more political education. And if he goes to come out of this, he needs to go and sit down with somebody so that people will teach him how to navigate it. He has to be extremely humble and really be willing to concede.
Well, you can't put it better than that. Like Comrade Lokoba, like you have rightly said, we are more interested in the return of constitutionalism to Rivers State. We recognize the necessity why the state of emergency was declared, even though some parties are in court today and they are seeking the judicial interpretation of that action. But we on the conversation, Nelson Ekujimi, I stand behind President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because it was a political crisis that was degenerating into an economic crisis. And as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who is responsible for the security and welfare of Nigerians, he cannot allow any part of Nigeria to go up.
He took the right decision.
He took the right decision. He took a presidential decision. And on that we stand. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is how far I want to go today on the conversation. We've had a very beautiful conversation. We have 2 beautiful conversations. So we'll come your way again next time. Please consider to watch the conversation on TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
da kamar ina da tare da waya ta ma za ku ga hamada saboda ni na ɗauka a waya.
Kamar yanzu kamar ana yana fili da bidiyo na gargajiya ko ka tona hamada ko
gurin kiwon ma babu gonakan kan babu ma maganar gonakai duk inda muke da gonakai gurin sahara ya ce gurin kiwo sahara ya ce kuma taku da kanka ma kana tafiya wallahi kana sai ka yi ni kana tafiya wani gangare in ka shiga to ka ganin ka sai ya su da kana tona ma ba za ka kama karuwa yake
Farmers and herders in Nigeria used to enjoy relative peace as they interacted with each other. That is no longer the case. It is estimated that between 2016 and 2018, over 3,600 lives were lost to the crisis between the two groups. In the first half of 2018, about 300,000 people became displaced for the same reason. Northwestern and North Central Nigeria have notably been the heart of this violence. But the crisis is spreading fast to other parts of the country, including the South. Several factors have been identified for the wave of bloodshed. Rapidly increasing population figures, rapidly dwindling resources, which both groups rely on. Also, the pattern of migration of the traditionally nomadic Fulani cattle rearers has been changing. This is due to rising insecurity, improvements in veterinary medicine, hostility from locals and state governments, and a bunch of environmental factors including climate change, desertification, loss of vegetation, and water scarcity. In Yobe, northeast Nigeria, the relationship between the scarcity of natural resources and increased violence is obvious. From the encroachment of the Sahara Desert to the shrinking of the Hadija Nguru wetlands.
ina magana a kan yanayin mutuwar dabbobinmu lokacin yunwa. Misali, idan rani ya ja lokaci kafin faduwar damuna, duk da faduwar damuna, ciyawa ta kan yanke.
Wato matsalar da muke samu na daga kwararwa hamada. Mu dai faru na gama in particular daga Fulani gabar da nan kenan da muke zo ne har zuwa Gumsi ita ce su faru da kuma jajin bayan da dai abubuwan da kuke gani a nan yanzu a ƙasa ta kusa kan jari hamada ta riga ta ci karfin lokacin gama ta yi nisa ta ci sosai ba san dai kuma abin da zai biyo baya ba amma bangaren gwamnati
the challenge of climate change and the consequences of climate change on the environment, especially when you look closely at environmental degradation and the competition for resources, in this instance specifically for land and water, has in several instances generated conflict. There is virtually no part of the northwest, not to an extent north central, and then northeast that you go to that you don't see receding water bodies, and how this is having a huge impact on the socio-economic well-being of and livelihoods of the people in those communities. And so the likelihood of migration from the core northern states into some parts of southern Nigeria is something that is real.
Zakari, a village in Yusufari, northern Yobe State, lies on the fringes of the Sahara Desert. About 50 years ago, it was like any other arid northeast Nigerian community, with decent vegetation, a smooth road network, sun-baked mud buildings, and a great many people who had lived there for generations. Now it is just miles and miles of sand dunes. desert encroachment has pushed out the majority of the residents, many of them herders. Malam Musa is one of many herders in Gaidam who have now resettled in the Swang area of Adamawa.
Sani wanda ya yi sanadiyan barin su yankin nan?
Akwai.
Na je kai kaman gidaje na ko rugaje na ko mutane nawa za ka gaba kayyana?
Kai kamar 100.
Wato wanda suka bar nan wajen.
Kaɗan ɗin.
A sanadiyan wannan. To ya kuke fama da baki?
Around January, February, you hardly see anything in the place that an animal will browse or take as a food. And there's no water even to drink. So this is one of the factors that will make them to come southwards. If they move southwards for water and for grazing the dry grasses. Definitely the desert encroachment is one of the factors that is concentrating the animal into a place and making the clashes between farmers and herders more frequent. More often. I did mean that in the area that is encroached by desert, there is grasses and water for them to. They may not be there. They may have to move. They may have to move. But now it's necessary that they must come southward as the dry season is approaching. They must come southward in search of little pasture and drinking water. While during the rainy season approach, they go north. Since there may be water and little grasses for them to graze.
The problem with desert encroachment is not going to stop anytime soon. According to one estimate, the sand dunes shift towards the south at a rate of 30 hectares each year, putting 11 states in northern Nigeria at risk of desertification. More cattle rearers in these places are moving elsewhere due to the combination of factors: insecurity, drought, desertification, and the need for water.
Saboda ruwan kowa ya ji fadama bai sha ruwa ba, gashi kuma ga gurare gonaki ko ina fili ya kare ba gurin yauwa. To shi ne makayayan da suka zo ga lamirin mu anan mun yi da mu da su a kan mu kore su. muka yi mu kore su, abun ya gagare mu, muka gaya wa lawani mu shi ma ya yi dan abun da bakin kokarinsa, abun ya gagari mun gaya wa hakimi ma, duk kowa ya san da baki kuma bakin nan ba daga wani guri suke ba, daga jiga.
The migration of herders to new places tends to lead to clashes or aggravate existing conflicts because of competition over insufficient land and water resources.
Ina tafiya suna tare ni da kibiya suna jifa na ni ina so in tafi gurin yaran can, su kuma suna gefen nan gefen kudu haka, su yaran suna gabar, ni ina tafiya gun su gabar, su kuma suna gefe na
yaran da suke aikin
shinkafa.
Kai kana so ka iso wajen su?
Su kuma wannan
yaran makiyaye kuma sai suka zargu
a cikin gona.
Sai suka zargu suka fara harbi.
Sai suka kama harbi. Suna harbi na, suna jifa, ni ban sani ba ma. Ni da na gani haka dai, ina gani suna yin haka dai da abin su suna jifa. Amma kibiyan bai zo ya same ni ba, ban gani ba ma. Ashe wai su harbi suke. Sai na fasa tafiya gun yara, sai na tafi gun yara Fulani din. To ina tafiya, ɗayan yana yin harbinsa, ashe kibiyarsa ya ƙare. da ya gani na kusa zuwa gunsa sai dan uwansa sai ya jefa masa addansa. Shi wani yana da kibiya shi zai gudu kenan. Sai ya jefa wannan da ba zai gudu ba sai ya jefa masa adda. Kawai yaron nan kawai sai ya taho da gudu. Sai ya fita da gudu ya zo ya same ni ya doka mu. Adda? Da itace a hannuna na ɗauka na masu buge shinkafa. Ya yanke itacen. Kuma ya yanke hannu. Hannun yanzu haka babu, yanzu fakin ne aka ce za a yi, ba zai zama hannu ba.
Wato shi ne wannan kibiya ɗin kibiyan kenan?
Lokacin da ya tsare da adda na faɗi.
Kamar shekara 5 a bangaren noma din gaskiya ba mu da matsala da su. Amma daga shekara 2 zuwa 3 ɗin abubuwan suka ƙara lalacewa.
Kuma karanci ruwa shi ya kawo inda ruwan ya zo an zuba da shinkafa. Wani guri ya hau wani guri bai hau ba. To dalilin wannan su ne dama wanda Fulani suka samu rashin ruwan shi ya kawo su. Suka shiga ka zauna kuma abin da sauran shinkawan masu ma rashin kiyawa da mai suka shiga shinkawa mutane suna ci an hana su abin muhimmi da ya fi karfi mu gaskiya mu na maguru.
In Nguru, about 100 kilometers west of Yusufari, is a section of the Hadija Nguru wetlands. For many years, the waterlogged fields and rivers in the area have sustained the livelihoods of millions of farmers, herders, and fishermen. But the water is starting to recede. Harvests, especially for rice farmers, have dropped significantly in the past year. They are also facing more problems from herders whose cattle graze on farms quarter town with harvest done.
Gaskiya wannan da inda da ruwan dai hakan duk ba za ta faru da yawa ba. Da rashin ruwan ma kuma da ta'adin da Fulani ne duk dai ba wanda a ce ba.
Kowa ya taka rawa ciki.
Gaskiya ne.
Yanzu a ganin ka me kake gani ya kamata a yi wanda zai iya magance wannan abun ita buɗewar ne ko kuma
an da an buɗe ruwa din za a iya samun saukin kan abin hanyar ruwa idan ta riga ta gyaru zaman lafiya tsakanin tunda daɗin ruwa yana zama ba wani matsala tsakanin su da can asali din da ruwa yana zaune muna zaune da ruwa daga baya kuma ruwan ya yi karanci zuwa yanzu shekara kamar 12 da akwai ruwa baya amma zuwa
sosai ba sa ɗaukan sakamoni muhimmanci
gona biyu haka aka ce gona biyu aka ce kowanne a baya ina samun 30 gona biyu ina samun 60 babu ɗaya kwano ɗaya ban samu kuma na yi yunkuri na ji na gaya ciyama
To our own understanding, the major problems is the absence of coming of the water. That are the reason why we fail to get what we have.
Lack of water.
They are all affected in the land. We have only source of water. If that source bring us water, the whole area farming well and organized. And then if there is no water from that only center we have it, we all lost. And what we understand now, the farmers at Onguru, they have already failed. 70% of our farmers have nothing to farm. 90%. Have 20% get only rice that have been eaten in their house. And then 10% are those that are gain something from the farming. And even me, I've tried to farm more than 1,000 to 2,000 rice. And my chairman more than 20,000. And the secretary will do more than 25,000 because of he's richer than us. But now, even I don't have even 10 bucks. I'm paying more than 1,000 and I don't have even 10 bucks.
Ok, kana ka ɗauka.
Babu sun cinye. Shanu sun cinye, shi ne ya yi. Kuma ruwa bai shiga ba.
Some footprints of the cows or plants that they've eaten.
Akwai da za mu iya ganin za mu iya ɗaukan hoton
da can waje a
To a tsarin mu na uku kare na ba sai mu ya ja wani.
gaba da wannan.
The major problem is lack of water. And then the second problem is the coming of the Fulani from somewhere else. And then that Fulani come because of the absence of water.
Three factors have been identified for the water problem: the proliferation of the invasive taifa grass, the construction of dams along water roads supplying the wetlands, such as the Tiga Dam in Kano, and droughts. One other reason for the increased clashes between farmers and herders in Nigeria is the encroachment of grazing roads, reserved for use by pastoralists, by northern lawmakers during the First Republic. These grazing roads and reserves are now being converted into farmlands and other structures. This makes it difficult for herders to move about freely without trespassing, and has repeatedly been used as an excuse.
Burtali nan da abin da ya kama daga nan har zuwa Sudan akwai burtali, amma su manoma duk sun je sun kakkare sun je sun yi shuku da sauransu. Shi yasa su Fulani kai musu magana da wannan suke laɓewa. An kashe burtali da sauransu. Mun hakikanin gaskiya yawancin tashin hankali da muke samu a nan akan harkar manoma da makiyaya yawanci duka ba makiya namu na nan bane, daga wani guri ne suke zuwa. Suka zo kuma ba sa tsoron ɓannatar da kayan mutane, kuma ba sa tsoron faɗa.
Even though the Nigerian government has kick-started attempts to revisit the grazing roads, experts say this is not the long-lasting solution that is needed.
The era of open grazing, in my honest opinion, is over. Yes, as a temporary measure and to allow for a de-escalation of the current situation that we're in, there may be a need to allow some form of movement, but that movement should be generated towards encouraging ranching and encouraging some more other sophisticated type of livestock rearing.
Unless when this is modernized, this problem of movement from one place to the other, or maybe to get sufficient either meat or milk that cater for the country is being modernized, I don't think we can achieve this our target. One of the problems, as I told you earlier, is that those people that are handling the animals refuse to go to school. They must be educated before they have that thinking that you are saying. Those people that are illiterate, they are all what they knew nothing about apart from the cattle. If you want them to improve what they are doing, how are you going to incorporate that knowledge into their own thinking? It's very difficult. And another problem to my own seeing is that government also is not paying much attention to the cattle rearers. You can hear programs, fertilizer, and what again?
Seed.
Most of the government programs are targeted towards crop cultivation. You can hardly come across any program that is targeted toward the cattle rearers. You can even hear about the states that are banning open grazing.
mu masu karamin karfi ne abinda muke da shi ga daren mun tattara mun je mun zubar a jeji domin wannan in ya fito a shi da mu samu abin da mu ci mu ce muka yan uwa mu marayu ne to amma babu an riga an cinye yanzu haka nan haka sidda yanzu haka nan da rigar da ya samu a cikin kwari.
Even though it is considered that we have a so-called disability, we really are able persons with different abilities.
For society and development to be included of persons with disabilities, we need to have equal access to education and to knowledge and information. Yet, out of millions of publications each year, fewer than 5% are made available in accessible formats for visually impaired persons. In developing countries, an even smaller percentage of publications are available in accessible formats. The Marrakesh Treaty, as it is called, will greatly expand the availability of artistic and literary works in accessible forms, such as Braille, large print text, and audiobooks. This can make a real difference in the lives of the world's more than 300 million visually impaired persons.
At the end of the day, we must come together and make however and where we are in the world be a place of unification, because me being blind visually doesn't mean that I have to be blind spiritually. And someone being sighted doesn't mean that they should be blind of those things in the world that we need to fix. We have to have inclusion. Let us not become handicapped again, blind to the issues and the problems of those in need.
prévu risque d'être de planter des arbres. Ça me plaît beaucoup. Ici, c'était un dépotoir d'ordures ménagères. Du fait que les villageois ne savaient pas qu'est-ce que c'est que l'importance de la forêt, ils prenaient leurs ordures et les déposaient. En ce moment, je leur ai sensibilisé de leur dire que l'arbre doit vivre comme nous, donc il ne faut pas salir l'arbre. C'est ce que nous a donné l'impact positif pour avoir ici un périmètre pour cultiver. Le 2 mai 2005, on a allé voir les eaux et forêts qui nous ont attribué 500 mètres carrés. On a initié, intégré les femmes dans un AGR. Et avec ça, on a choisi le maraîchage. On était à 3 hectares, mais on ne cultive pas sous la haute tension et on nous a déguerpi et on est à 2 hectares.
Si on fait travailler ces femmes dans cette forêt, c'est pour qu'elles prennent également soin de cette forêt. Non seulement ça permet de fertiliser les sols, mais ça permet également de les autonomiser économiquement à travers la vente de fruits.
Tous les arbres fruitiers que vous voyez, c'est nous qui l'avons planté. Chaque citronnier, on y récoltait plus de 60 kilos.
Merci beaucoup. Que ce sont des dames très dynamiques, des dames très braves, qui subissent de plein fouet les effets des changements climatiques. Nous, on vient en rescousse pour informer, pour sensibiliser sur des solutions, la promotion de bonnes pratiques. Pour les cas pires, c'est également l'apparition de nouveaux parasites. Et ça, on le vit ici au quotidien et un peu partout au Sénégal. Ça participe également à la dégradation des sols. Justement, c'est la raison pour laquelle nous, on essaye de trouver comme solution prioritaire aujourd'hui le reboisement massif dans les périmètres maraîchers avec des espèces qui sont répulseurs aussi.
Notre projet d'avenir, si les femmes l'acceptent, on veut faire un projet de pépinière dans les alvéoles pour alléger les travaux.
La femme est à l'image de la terre. Ce sont des vrais écoféministes qui sont là, qui sont engagés pour la protection et la préservation de l'environnement.
La forêt, c'est nous et nous, c'est la forêt.
Well, I didn't know on time because I only knew that she found it difficult to read, and even when she started school, although I thought I was part of the reasons why she